What's up, YouTube? It's your Lord and Savior King D353 here, and it is time for the result of 2017's Fastlane pay-per-view. The first match of the only match of the pre-show was a tag team match between Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I did not care about this match, not in the slightest, so I didn't even bother to watch it. All I did was find a result afterwards. And the match ended with Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa picking up the win. I probably could have skipped that together myself, but personally, I always hated when people would go, if you want to find this out, watch another video. No. When you promise something, you deliver. And I promise results, so I'll give you the results, even to the match I didn't watch. But don't worry, every other match I talk about, I did watch. The opening match of the card was Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. Now, I was falling asleep for the first half of this pay-per-view, so you're not going to get a play-by-play. You're just going to get the spots fest. And what were the spots for this match? Well, not many, to be honest. I mean, Sami Zayn reversed the Muscle Buster, so we still don't know if the Muscle Buster is actually going to be taken up to the main roster or not. Seems like the Muscle Buster might become Hideo Itami's GTS, where it's like, yeah, he has this move, he's just never going to use it. So yeah, his Muscle Buster gets reversed. He does try to hit Sami Zayn with a superplex, but Samoa Joe ends up but Sami Zayn ends up reversing it and going for a running power bomb off the top, which Joe reversals, but then Sami pulls him off the rope, makes him hit his face, goes for his haluva kick, gets Uranagi'd, and then gets locked into the Kokita clutch. Sami Zayn faints, and Samoa Joe wins in unsurprising fashion. The next match of the night was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson versus Enzo and Big Cass for the... Did I already say Tag Team Championships? I think I did. Meh. The match starts off with Enzo having an impressive showing against both of the two, but then something happens to have them get the advantage. I don't remember what, because again, I was falling asleep. But Enzo then becomes a punching bag for the vast majority of the match, taking two goddamn rocket kicks from Karl Anderson, getting beat up some more. There was a brief moment in time where he got outside the ring. He drop kicked down Luke Gallows. He ran past he knocked down Karl Anderson. Then he ducked a clothesline from Luke Gallows. Then he dodged out of the way of Luke Gallows, making Luke Gallows run into the post. And then he slowly, ever so slowly, because he's beaten the fuck out of, crawled into the ring and tries to tag in Big Cass, only to get rocket kicked again. So we got 3 rocket kicks throughout this match. But eventually, Enzo Amore does manage to make a tag to Big Cass after dodging an elbow drop from Karl Anderson. So then Luke and Karl both start getting beat down by Big Cass. Big boots galores, soft elbows, or whatever the heck you call. A few fallaway slams. I don't know why he loved fallaway slams this match, but Big Cass has fallen in love with the fallaway slam. Hits the boom shakalaka. Yes, that's actually the name of the move. The boom shakalaka. 1, 2. Luke Gallows pulls Enzo off of Karl Anderson. The match is saved, and Big Cass goes out to confront Luke Gallows, only to get slammed into the post. Enzo jumps down at Luke Gallows to take him out, goes back into the ring, only to get rocket kicked again by Karl Anderson. Oh my god, the amount of rocket kicks that Enzo has taken. Enzo is going to have a fear of rocket kicks for the rest of his life. That aside, 1, 2, foot on the rope! Nope. Luke Gallows knocks Enzo's foot off the rope. Free. The club retain in very heelish fashion. After this, we find a little cutscene of sorts. Actually, no, I have this out of order. Blush me. Next up, we have Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. I'm not going to go into detail of this one. Basically, Nia Jax decimates Sasha Banks, hits her for a running leg drop. Then she picks up Sasha Banks, decides to start smack-talking Sasha, and Sasha uses... Actually, no, I am going to go into detail of this match, because not in my there were actually some good spots. I'm still going to tell you the end of it first. Sasha Banks is picked up, hoisted up for a Samoan drop, but Sasha Banks reversals the Samoan drop into an O'Connor roll with a bridge. 1, 2, 3. Sasha Banks actually managed to upset Nia Jax and end her undefeated streak. But there were actually some other good spot. Well, there's one other good spot in particular in this match. At one point during Sasha's wrecking, let's be honest, Sasha was wrecked this entire goddamn match. She actually pulls off a pretty cool move in a Hurricane Rana, the most beautiful Hurricane Rana I've ever seen her hit, into a bank statement, which I absolutely adored. Part of me regrets not thinking ahead to mention that first, but it was a beautiful spot. But other than that, yeah, Sasha's got beat up a lot, but managed to pull out a victory. The next match of the night has a little bit of backstory behind it. Earlier in the night, presumably on the pre-show, because I didn't actually see this myself, Jinder Mahal and Rusev were having a fight, and they both decided they wanted to go off on their own and become singles competitors. And so they did. Mick Foley said, alright, you guys want to become single competitors? Cool. How about a best of 7 series match? Then everybody in Rouge turns up and was like, no! And I was like, alright, I'm kidding. You both have singles matches tonight, so go out there and decide who goes first. So Jinder Mahal comes out, and then Rusev comes out right behind him. Rusev tells Jinder Mahal to go out of the ring. Jinder Mahal says, no, I was here first. And they start brawling. Rusev tosses Jinder out of the ring. And this is where I assumed it would end because Jinder coming out on top. That's not going to happen. But no, Rusev goes out to continue the attack. And after a bit more brawling, Jinder Mahal ends up winning their little scuffle with a high knee knocking Rusev right over the barricade. So Jinder Mahal comes into the ring. And out comes his opponent, Cesaro. Also, it's safe to assume that Cesaro and Sheamus are now officially best friends for life, because even though it was Cesaro's match, they still had the whole Cesaro into Sheamus song thing, and Sheamus still came out to pose with Cesaro before Cesaro's match started. So, yeah, Sheamus and Cesaro are now BFFs. That aside, the match was actually kind of surprising because Jinder Mahal actually did dominate the majority of the match. Not much in the way of spots to mention, so essentially the match ends with Jinder Mahal hitting Cesaro for combos of punches and a spin kick. So then he turns around and sees that Rusev, who he had knocked over the barricade, who was knocked out this entire fucking time, is finally stirring, and he's essentially leaning on the announce table, staring into the ring, and Jinder Mahal is distracted by this, staring at Rusev for a bit, before he turns around, gets launched sky high by Cesaro into a very European uppercut. 1, 2, 3, Cesaro beats Jinder Mahal. With that, Cesaro leaves the ring, Rusev enters the ring, and Rusev beats the holy living shit out of Jinder Mahal. Now, one interesting thing to note during this is that with the commentary, it seems that if there's going to be a face-heel dynamic in this possible rivalry, Jinder's going to be the face. Because, 1, Cole said Jinder can blame Rusev for the loss. Cole never actually takes note of interference if it happens against a heel. He normally only takes note of interference when it happens to the face. So maybe they're hinting at a face turn for Jinder, especially since he actually dominated Cesaro and did a very good job in his match. Who knows? That aside, Rusev beats the holy shit out of Jinder. And then once Jinder rolls out the ring, well, it's the Big Show. And I was, again, fitting out of conscience for this match, so all I know is that it ends with a knockout punch. The next match of the night was Neville versus Jack Galiher, and I did not see most of this match, not because I skipped it like the last time, but rather because my computer just died. But I can tell you the ending of the match, because I had it fixed later on. Basically, in the end, Jack Gallagher had Neville up on the top rope. He hit a nice, loud-sounding headbutt on Neville, which was apparently the third headbutt he hit Neville with that match, according to the announcers. As Jack Gallagher goes up to hit Neville with something, Neville pushes Jack Gallagher down, and then hits Jack Gallagher with the red arrow for the 1-2-3. That's right, heel Neville hit a red arrow. A random thing I took note of, Jack Gallagher's arm was bleeding at the end of the match. I don't know what spot may have caused that, but yeah, there was an obvious bloody spot on his elbow, on his left elbow to be exact. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Really nothing to talk about spots-wise. I mean, Braun kicked out of a spear, and the Superman punch wouldn't put him down, but basically Roman Reigns with a spear. Not much to say about that, and who cares. And now it's time for the Women's Championship match. Charlotte versus the champion, Bayley. This match was a very well done match, honestly. I enjoyed it surprisingly quite a bit. The match starts off with Bayley going on an all-out offensive. She just batters Charlotte around the ring. She just goes chasing at her, diving all around the place. She sentons her on the outside. She crossbodies her on the inside. She basically just goes on an all-out offensive. Then with a cornered Charlotte, she turns Charlotte around, goes for the Bayley to belly, but Charlotte grabs onto the rope to stop herself from being hit by the Bayley to belly. And then Charlotte rolls out the ring, Bayley goes after, and at this point, everything becomes a blur of fighting and good moves and just an enjoyable match. There was at one point where, instead of doing her regular rope-hung neck breaker that Charlotte normally does, she actually did a rope-hung knee to the back of the neck. That was fun to see. But ultimately, the match ends with Charlotte was on the outside of Bayley, and Charlotte actually was holding the advantage for a bit. But then Sasha Banks runs out and goes to punch Charlotte. Charlotte stops the punch, punches Sasha a bit, and then slams, and then not slams. It looked like she was gonna slam Sasha into the into the pole, whatever it's called. But instead, she actually throws her into the ring. She chases after Sasha, who rolls out of the ring, and as Sasha runs past Bayley, Charlotte ends up running into a Bayley to belly on the outside. Bayley then tosses Charlotte into the ring and goes in after her. Charlotte rolls up Bayley, but grabs the tights, and Sasha Banks puts this out to the referee. Afterwards, Charlotte goes to try to kick Sasha away because Sasha is kind of screwing her over. Turns around into another Bayley to belly suplex. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains her women's championship and ends Charlotte's undefeated pay-per-view streak. Now, there are two things to keep in mind with this match. Luckily, not two things to keep in mind. One thing to keep in mind and one thing that I found personally interesting. Thing I found personally interesting. Charlotte actually sent Dana Brooke early in the night. Bayley said Charlotte should send Dana Brooke to the back so that they can see who the real top woman here is. And Charlotte actually does this. When Charlotte's coming out, she actually does send Dana Brooks to the back. So that's an oddly nice thing for Charlotte to do. And here's the really interesting part about it. It really looks like there's a double turn coming here with Charlotte and Sasha because Charlotte did something kind of honorable in making this a one-on-one confrontation. Sasha did something completely heelish by trying to attack Charlotte when Charlotte did absolutely nothing to provoke her. Also, Charlotte had the advantage over Sasha during Sasha's interference, which is something that only happens with faces. So while Charlotte was looking surprisingly dominant for a heel, Sasha was being surprisingly heelish for a face. So there may be a double turn there, and WrestleMania is looking a tad more interesting. With Charlotte having a legitimate claim to being screwed over, Sasha being the reason she was screwed over, and Nia Jax having beaten Sasha, it looks like the WrestleMania match for the Divas is going to be a fatal 4-way match, so that might end up being interesting, but oh well. And the final match of the night was Kevin Owens versus Goldberg. I almost said Chris Jericho. So, first Goldberg comes out, and interestingly enough, Goldberg actually had his little entourage that he was only known to have in WCW, so that was an interesting, albeit very random callback. So with Goldberg coming in with his securities, he comes out to the ring, does his thing. Kevin Owens comes out. Kevin Owens is up in Goldberg's face, championship in the air, trying to act tough. Then, right as the ref is about to ring the bell, Kevin Owens rolls out the ring. For literally the next 3 minutes, it's nothing but Kevin Owens getting into the ring, only to get out again. While the announcers are trying, not the announcers, the commentators are trying to say that this is him trying to psych out Goldberg. He's trying to make Goldberg run out of energy because Goldberg's constantly pacing and hopping up and down and using up energy. Kevin finally comes into the ring, says, "Alright, let's do this, ring the bell, I got this, you want some? Jericho's music hits, and as he turns around to look in Jericho's direction, the bell rings. Jericho does come out, but Owens, hearing the bell, turns around to look at Goldberg, only to be speared out of his ass, picked up, and jackhammered. 1, 2, 3. Goldberg is your Universal Champion. In a lovely 22-second bout. So, yeah. Lovely. As much as we all wanted Kevin Owens to win, that's not happening. And just as Goldberg was said, 1 spear, 1 jackhammer, Kevin Owens and his Universal title were next. And Chris Jericho's quite happy about it, smiling and applauding. So that's all it is. That was your Fastlane pay-per-view. To recap, we had the Faces winning in their Cruiserweight Tag Team match. We had Samoa Joe beating Sami Zayn. We had Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows winning their retaining their tag team titles through cheeky means. We have Sasha Banks rolling up Nia Jax for a win. We have Cesaro beating Jinder Mahal with the distraction from Ruru. We got Big Show knocking out Ruru. I don't know if I said he knocked out Ruru, but Big Show knocked out Ruru. We got Neville beating Jack Galiher for the Cruiserweight title. We have Roman Reigns beating Braun Strowman with a spear, because of course he does. We have Bayley ending Charlotte's reign as an undefeated pay-per-view fighter. And we have Kevin Owens being squashed by Goldberg. So, this was a pretty entertaining pay-per-view. I know I should have no right to say it because I was falling asleep, but the Tag Team Championship match was entertaining enough. Jinder Mahal's match was actually very entertaining. Rusev's match was okay. Sasha Banks winning against Nia Jax was a pleasant surprise. Bayley beating Charlotte in the way she did was a massive surprise, and Goldberg beating Kevin Owens was a disappointment. But you know what? Everything can't be perfect. Things don't always go how you want. I hope you guys enjoyed this little short recap. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys at WrestleMania. And no, I'm not just saying that to close it out. I'm really going to see you guys there. Deuces, YouTube.